At the beginning of the story, we see a dead body lying in the garbage with a crow perched on its mouth. Just before the crow can attack his eye, the dead body suddenly stands up. He lights a cigarette with the lighter he had in his pocket and notices that the smoke is escaping from several parts of his body instead of coming out of his nose. Terrified, he lifts his shirt and sees his body covered with deep injuries. Yet strangely, he is still alive. When he tries to speak, his voice emerges as a harsh, zombie-like growl. Shocked, he looks in a mirror and is horrified at his disfigured red and blue face, a face that even he is afraid of. He quickly realizes that he has turned into a zombie, and unable to bear the thought of living this cursed life, he jumps off a cliff to end it all. But zombies do not die easily. In despair, he hides away in a cave, spending many days consumed by sorrow until one day he collapses from unbearable hunger. When he regains consciousness, he discovers with horror that he had devoured a raw, live rabbit. Disgusted by what he has become, he questions how he turned into a zombie in the first place. This mystery begins haunting him. The only way to find answers about his past is to return to the human world. Staggering in crooked, zombie-like steps, he makes his way out of the forest and into town. On the ground, he finds a girl's hoodie and puts it on. A moment later, the owner of the hoodie, a young woman, arrives searching for it. As he sees her, the zombie quickly turns away and refuses to respond, knowing that if she discovers what he truly is, she might become terrified and even try to kill him. The girl, however, is Sonia, a crime reporter. She calmly tells him that if he wants the hoodie, he can keep it, but she only asks him to return her mobile phone that is still in the pocket. The zombie hands it back. Sonia, assuming he must be a poor boy, even offers him money. The following day, hunger gnaws at him again. He tries to knock down a bird's nest to steal its eggs by throwing stones at a tree, but he is far too weak to succeed. Finally, he collapses unconscious once more. When he comes to, he realizes he has eaten another live animal. Disturbed and frightened by his uncontrollable nature, he decides he does not want to turn into a savage, wild zombie. To uncover his past and blend in with humans, he must learn to behave like them. But for now, neither his strange, raspy voice nor his staggering walk resemble human mannerisms. Determined, he begins training himself. He finds an old, abandoned gym in town and climbs onto a treadmill. At first, walking like a human feels impossibly difficult for him, but with persistence and effort, he eventually learns to mimic the motion. In another moment, he practices speaking by holding a stick in his mouth, forcing himself to control his voice and sound human. Slowly, he manages to pronounce letters clearly. With the help of a book, he even teaches himself to use chopsticks and to follow dining etiquette properly. Piece by piece, he shapes himself into a person who can pass for human. To look the part, he steals clothes from town. For shelter, he makes a graveyard his home. One day, he witnesses a shocking scene. A man murders another and throws him from the cliff. The zombie hurries over and finds the victim still breathing. Before he dies, the man hands the zombie a key. Out of respect, the zombie buries the dead man before checking his bag. Inside, he discovers a visiting card that identifies the man as Detective Kim, listing the address of his office. With nowhere else to go, the zombie decides to live there for a while. The office looks like it hasn't been occupied in years, but the fridge is full of food. Overcome with hunger, the zombie devours it, only to become violently ill at night. He soon understands that as a zombie, he cannot digest regular human food. He can only survive on raw meat, but to buy it, he must earn money. He takes a job folding pizza boxes at a shop. One day, Detective Kim's phone rings. On the other side is a client, requesting help to find a missing dog. The zombie at first doesn't want to get involved, but then realizes that playing Detective Kim could help him interact with more people and possibly uncover his past. As he prepares for the job, he disguises himself with makeup to hide his zombie face and dresses in Kim's old clothes. Out on his mission, he discovers the dog's owner is only a small boy who offers him just a penny as payment. Furious, the zombie scolds the child. At that moment, the boy's aunt arrives, none other than Sonia. The sight of her fills the zombie with panic and he attempts to run away. Sonia, however, grabs a nearby helmet and hurls it at his head from a distance, knocking him unconscious. She rushes over to check his pulse but finds no heartbeat. Shocked, she immediately calls an ambulance, believing he is dead. To her horror, a few minutes later, the zombie suddenly sits upright inside the ambulance, terrifying everyone around. Sonia quickly escorts him to the hospital, where he cleverly manages to escape. He finds himself growing desperately hungry again. He almost attacks a man to eat him, but at the last moment, he snaps back to his senses. Then, sitting nearby, he sees a dog. For a brief, horrifying moment, he considers eating the dog as well. But instead, he feels pity for the innocent animal and spares it. Still starving, he sits at home, trying to control himself, when suddenly he hears an announcement about free soup being offered somewhere in town. Driven by hunger, he rushes there, only to find out that the free soup has already run out. Instead, the organizers explain that if he wants to receive soup now, he has to take part in a promotional event where people dressed like zombies are dancing for the hotel. With no other choice, he joins them. Surprisingly, he dances so well that everyone is impressed. When the time finally comes to get the soup, he abandons the line and sneaks into the kitchen instead, unable to resist his craving. There, he starts devouring raw meat directly. The shocked chef catches him in the act and shouts. At this very moment, Sonia and another detective, both of whom are present in the hotel, enter in hopes of finding and killing the zombie. But when they confront him, the poor zombie overpowers them and beats them instead. Right now, he looks completely out of control, consumed by his wild side. Panicked, he runs away again, disappearing into the forest to escape from the chaos. Alone and away from people, his zombie rage begins to subside, and his calmer, human-like state starts to return. With his mind clearer, he decides to go back to Detective Kim's office. There, he watches the news on TV and sees a heartbreaking report about the death of a young child. As he looks at the girl in the report, he doesn't understand why, but something inside him stirs so deeply that he cannot control the strange, overwhelming emotions it awakens within him. He becomes the owner of Detective Kim's house arrives. She has come to collect rent. Since the zombie is now living there, it has become his responsibility to pay. This immediately reminds him that he desperately needs money. While thinking of how to arrange it, he remembers the day Sonia had come to his office. Back then, Sonia had hit him on the head with a helmet, and not wanting Detective Kim, who is now the zombie, to file a case against her, she had brought along a settlement agreement. At that time, the zombie had torn up the agreement. Now he realizes he can use this situation to his advantage. He decides that if he can demand $100,000 from Sonia as settlement money, all of his problems will finally be solved. With that thought, he sets out to meet Sonia, but just as he is about to approach her, he sees someone trying to kidnap her. Without a second thought, he jumps in like a hero, placing himself in front of the kidnapper's car and stopping them. He fights back, rescues Sonia, and takes her safely to his office. Once there, he confronts her saying, "You hit my head with a helmet that day. Because of that, I have a severe head injury, and now I am unable to properly continue my detective work. I want a settlement amount of $100,000. Hearing this, Sonia lowers her head with a sad expression. She tells him, "I don't have any money, but if you want, I can become your assistant. I will do all your work for free." After listening to her offer, the zombie coldly tells her to get up and leave. Before he can take Sonia out of the house, an old client of Detective Kim arrives. She is a famous actress who wants Kim, now the zombie, to find her missing daughter. She even offers him a large amount of money in return for this work. Before the zombie can respond, Sonia steps forward and says, "Okay, we'll take this case." Sonia immediately begins asking important questions, such as where the actress last saw her daughter and what her daughter's interests were at that time so they could trace her more easily. Since Sonia herself is a crime reporter, she already has some experience with investigations. The zombie sits quietly beside her, realizing that if he wants to continue earning money through detective work, he will need Sonia's help. Finally, he agrees to make her his assistant. Sonia then starts the investigation and suspects a meditation center. During the day, everything at the center seems perfectly normal, but at night, it turns into something sinister. A cult group is running the place, forcing children into their circle by giving them chemical substances and making them do labor. To uncover the truth, Sonia hides inside a drum and sneaks into the center at night. While inside, she finds the missing girl, the actress's daughter. But when Sonia tries to leave with her, she is noticed by the cult leader. He realizes Sonia has discovered their secret and orders his men to capture and kill her. From behind, the zombie suddenly appears and uses playing cards like knives, killing one of the attackers. The cult leader then tries to kill Sonia himself with a sharp staff, but just in time, the zombie steps between them and saves her. The staff pierces the zombie's stomach, but he feels no pain. Consumed by rage, he grips the cult leader by the neck, ready to kill him, but Sonia screams at him to stop. Moments later, the police arrive and capture the cult leader. Their mission is complete. When Sonia later visits the zombie to congratulate him, she is horrified to see him without his clothes on. His body is full of terrifying holes and wounds. Shocked, she wonders if Detective Kim is truly a zombie. Alarmed, she quickly opens her laptop and starts researching about zombies. Her brother, seeing this, scoffs, but finally admits that zombies do exist in the world. Memories flood Sonia's mind. She recalls why she hadn't heard a heartbeat when she struck him with the helmet that day, and how he had survived the cult leader's attack without flinching. The truth becomes undeniable. He didn't feel pain because he was a zombie. She tries to explain this to her brother, but he refuses to believe it. Sonia then carefully goes to the zombie's house, this time making sure to protect herself before entering. She tells him that for all the work she did as his assistant, she wants her payment, and after that, she will leave. The zombie takes out some money to give her, but suddenly, Sonia doubles over with severe stomach pain and collapses on the floor. Terrified, she thinks at first that the zombie might plan to eat her, but instead, he rushes her to the hospital. When she regains consciousness, Sonia realizes she is still alive. At that moment, she finally understands he is a good zombie, one who does not eat humans. From that day on, she decides to help him. Since the zombie wants to uncover his past, Sonia begins to ask questions. She asks him, "When you first came to your senses as a zombie, what did you have with you?" He shows her the lighter he had used to light his cigarette in the very beginning of the story. He also has a strange zombie watch. Sonia takes these items, photographs them, and posts them on social media, asking if anyone knows anything about them to contact her. Sometime later, she receives a call from a man who claims to know about the lighter. He invites her to meet at a special place. Sonia and the zombie wait there for a long time, but the man never shows. Instead, they meet another person, Sean, a man whom Sonia already knows. The zombie recognizes him too, as he had appeared in the murder news he once witnessed. Before the zombie can speak to him, Sean receives a phone call and learns that his mother has gone missing. The job of finding her is taken up by Sonia and the zombie. After a hard search, they discover the old woman trapped in the nearby mountains. Just as Sonia prepares to bring her to safety, a massive wild pig charges at her. The animal is incredibly powerful and nearly kills her, but the zombie leaps in to save her once again. A brutal fight begins between the zombie and the wild pig. At first, he underestimates its strength and is struck hard, thrown around violently. In his anger, he climbs onto a cliff and calls to the pig, luring it. The pig charges at him, but at the last second, he sidesteps, causing it to fall into the ravine. Unfortunately, the pig drags him down with it. Horrified, Sonia fears that the zombie may be dead too, but to her shock, moments later, she sees him climbing back up, pulling the dead pig behind him tied to a stick. Later, they both bring Sean's mother safely home. Sean thanks them warmly for saving her. And here, instead of hugging Sean, Sean's mother hugs the zombie as if he were her son and begins crying. Watching this, the zombie realizes that maybe he too has a mother somewhere who must be waiting for him. After some time, the zombie tells Sonia about the visions he has of the dying girl, explaining that in those visions, the girl always holds a doll in her hand. Sonia thinks that maybe there could be a link between the zombie and the girl, but the zombie insists that what he keeps seeing clearly is the doll with her. Sonia and her detective friend reinvestigate the case of the girl's death, though they don't find any mention of a doll in the original reports. That night, the zombie shows Sonia a photograph where the dying girl has the same doll that appears in his visions. Later, when the zombie returns to his office, he finds the entire place torn apart and everything scattered. However, strangely, none of his belongings have been stolen, not even the money. Only the lighter has gone missing. This lighter is the very same one whose photo he had once posted on social media, and also shown to a man named Sean. From this, the zombie realizes that Sean must have come to his office and suspects that Sean indeed knows something about his past. He confronts Sean and demands answers about his past. Sean looks him in the eye and tells him that he is the one who killed that little girl. The zombie is shocked, unable to believe what he hears. Horrified, he begins to think that perhaps he was turned into a zombie as punishment for murdering the child. Overcome with guilt, he resolves to end his own life. He picks up a drill machine and prepares to kill himself by driving it into his head, but the drill suddenly breaks down. Instead of dying, he falls backward from the electrical shock. Defeated and confused, he decides to leave the city. Meanwhile, Sonia meets the father of the dead girl. While at his house, she notices a photograph of the girl, and in that picture, standing right beside her, is none other than the zombie. The child's father explains that the zombie had once been hired as the little girl's bodyguard. With this revelation, Sonia finally uncovers the truth of the zombie's past. She wants to tell him immediately, but when she goes to his house, she doesn't find him there. Rushing to his office, she also finds it empty, though photographs of Sean are spread across the table. Believing that Sean is the key, she decides to go to Sean's house and messages the zombie about it. The zombie desperately wants to stop her, but unfortunately his phone has no signal. Urgently, he rushes toward Sean's house to save her. At the same time, inside Sean's home, Sonia is being held captive by Sean and his wife. They finally reveal the truth. It was they who murdered the little girl. Sean orders his wife to kill Sonia while he steps outside, but Sonia cleverly frees herself from her ropes, fights back fiercely, sprays something in the wife's eyes to blind her temporarily, and escapes, where she runs right into the zombie waiting outside. In panic, she quickly tells him the truth, blurting out that Sean and his wife are the killers, and that he himself had only been the bodyguard of that child. After Sonia flees, Sean learns that his house is no longer safe. He tries to escape with his wife, but the police swarm in and surround them. With no choice, Sean abandons his wife, who is arrested, and manages to run away. Furious and humiliated, he decides to take revenge on the zombie. He lures him to a deserted place by sending a message and claims there is a gift in a car that will reveal his past. When the zombie opens the door, the car explodes in a massive blast. Convinced that he has finally killed him, Sean walks away, but he has no idea that the zombie cannot die so easily. From this explosion, a spark ignites within the zombie's mind, bringing back flashes of memory. He finally remembers his past clearly. He had indeed been the little girl's bodyguard. On Christmas Day, when Sean kidnapped the girl, the zombie, still human at the time, tried to save her. Sean ambushed him, knocking him unconscious before dragging him to a trench. There, Sean shot him in the stomach and left his body to rot. The bullet wound still remains imprinted in the zombie's stomach as a permanent scar. With the truth fully restored, the zombie rises once more. He storms back to confront Sean, attacking him furiously and beating him while shouting, demanding to know why Sean killed the little girl. Sean refuses to give him any explanation and, in desperation, shoots him. Sean believes that this time the boy must have died, but to his horror, the zombie gets up again and stands in front of him. Sean fires several more rounds, but even after being shot repeatedly, the zombie does not die. Finally, Sean decides the only way to finish him is to shoot him in the head. If he managed that, the zombie truly would die. But just as Sean takes aim, his mother rushes in between them. The woman, who had once saved the zombie, calls him by the name Minho. Hearing this, the zombie suddenly remembers that his real name is Minho. The woman Sean had been calling his own mother all this time was actually Minho's mother. Enraged by her death at Sean's hands, Minho loses control and kills Sean in a fury. The following day, Minho's mother's funeral takes place. Afterward, Minho meets Sonia and tells her there is no need for her to continue working with him as a detective because he has decided to leave the city. He leaves behind all the money he had earned at Detective Kim's office, keeping nothing, not even enough for food. Stricken with hunger, he slips into his zombie mode again. He targets a man on the street, prepared to attack, but collapses from weakness before he can harm anyone. When he regains consciousness, he finds himself back in the detective's office with a pile of chicken lying in front of him. Terrified, he wonders if he had killed someone for it. Then Sonia arrives and explains to him that when he becomes hungry, he loses control completely. This, she tells him, is his zombie nature, and he must learn to control it. She promises to help him. To test him, Sonia places a chicken in front of him and ties him to a chair. She tells him that he must stay restrained for 3 days and resist eating the chicken no matter what. Sonia stays outside the office, watching him closely. After about 30 to 32 hours, Minho's zombie side takes over. She notices that whenever he becomes fully zombie, he gains immense strength. He breaks free from the rope, lunges at the chicken, and devours it like a beast. Soon his eyes turn towards Sonia, and he charges at her too. Sonia tries backing away, but he keeps advancing. Just before he can grab her, she finds a frying pan on the floor and strikes him on the head, knocking him unconscious. When Minho wakes up, Sonia tells him that in his zombie mode he has become far too dangerous, but she has discovered the secret to controlling him, the frying pan. She tells him that remaining inside his office will be safer for both him and everyone else outside. Accepting this, Minho decides to once again take on the identity of Detective Kim. He then turns to Sonia and says it is worth questioning who truly killed the real Detective Kim. Sonia, who has already researched this, explains that Kim had no family, and on the day he visited his father's grave, he was killed by a man named Napan. Napan had been sentenced to prison for illegally disposing of chemical substances in the mountains. Now it is revealed that Napan has been released. Upon learning that Detective Kim is still alive, even though he himself had killed him, Napan orders other detectives to keep an eye on the fake detectives, that is, Sonia and Minho. As they investigate Kim's murder case, they come to the salon where Kim had last been seen. There, they discover that Kim had been researching a man named Dr. No, a doctor involved in disturbing experiments on animals at his hospital. When Sonia and Minho visit Dr. No's clinic, Minho recognizes him at once. This is the man who killed Kim. One of the detectives who had been tailing Sonia and Minho identifies Minho to the doctor, confirming that he has visited the clinic. Dr. No then challenges this detective to kidnap Minho in exchange for money. The detective sets up electric traps, sends waves of attackers to Minho's house, and even fights him directly, but fails again and again to capture him. Frustrated, he finally returns to Dr. No and says, "Take your money back, I can't do this job." He then adds, "This man doesn't even look human. He attacked me as if to eat me. I even tore out his heart, and still he didn't die." Although the detective failed, the doctor is still pleased because he managed to obtain Minho's DNA. From that, Dr. No discovers the truth, that Minho is a zombie. Soon after, Dr. No disguises himself with a mask and goes to Minho's office. There, he releases a chemical that makes Minho unconscious and drags him to his secret laboratory. The doctor begins experiments, drawing blood from Minho's veins. When Minho regains enough strength, he demands, "Why are you doing these dangerous experiments?" The doctor replies that he once loved his wife more than life itself, and when she died, he could not bear to live without her. He explains that after countless experiments, he made a drug that brought her back. Not as a human, but as a zombie. Ever since, he has been trying to refine his work to turn her back into a human. Detective Kim discovered his illegal experiments as well as the man who helped him dispose of his chemicals. To protect his secret, Dr. No was forced to kill Kim, but what Dr. No never realized was that where he had dumped his chemicals, Minho's body was also lying. Because of those chemicals, Minho, who was once dead, was brought back to life as a zombie, just like Dr. No's wife. Meanwhile, Sonia traces Minho's location and reaches the locked clinic. She notices the electricity meter is still running, meaning someone is inside. Breaking in, she heads down into the lab where both Minho and Dr. No's zombie wife are tied up. The detectives working for Dr. No are also tied there, because they had learned the truth about his wife. Sonia frees them first, and then rushes to untie Minho. Just then, Dr. No's zombie wife suddenly rises. Before she can harm Sonia, Minho breaks free enough to protect her. In the zombie language, he tries to communicate with Dr. No's wife, but Dr. No bursts in with a gun. The doctor orders his wife to attack and eat all of them. She lunges at the detectives, and chaos erupts. In the struggle, Minho tries to wrestle the gun from Dr. No's hand. During the fight, a shot is fired by accident, and the bullet pierces Dr. No's wife's head, killing her instantly. Devastated, the doctor collapses beside her corpse in grief. Seizing the opportunity, Sonia calls the police, who arrive and arrest Dr. No. At last, it seems as though they have solved the murder of Detective Kim. But a bigger problem soon arises. On the way to jail, the police car transporting Dr. No crashes. Before dying, Dr. No had injected himself with his own medication. As a result, he becomes a zombie after death. Learning of this, Sonia and Minho try to set a trap for him. They steal his wife's corpse from the morgue, expecting Dr. No to come for her, but he outsmarts them. Instead of retrieving his wife's body, he goes straight to Minho's house. There, he doesn't immediately attack Minho, but instead kidnaps Sonia. Just before he can take her away, one of Sonia's detective friends appears and points a gun at him. Dr. No laughs, unafraid, because he knows bullets cannot kill him. He is a zombie too. Easily disarming the detective, he gains control of the gun. He raises it, ready to shoot Sonia. But in the struggle, Sonia manages to seize the weapon thanks to Minho's help. If Minho wished, he could have ended Dr. No by shooting him in the head on the spot. But Dr. No, knowing Minho's merciful nature, gambled correctly that Minho would hold back. Just then, the same two detectives who had been working with Sonia enter wearing masks. They release a chemical that Dr. No himself had invented, one that can make zombies fall unconscious. Overcome by the fumes, Dr. No collapses. The detectives remove their masks, and one of them cautiously approaches to check if he is really unconscious or just pretending. Suddenly, Dr. No awakens and seizes the boy, about to slit his throat. To save him, Minho finally pulls the trigger and shoots Dr. No in the head, killing him instantly. Afterward, Minho is filled with sorrow. Deep inside, he had hoped Dr. No's experiments might one day give him the chance to become human again. With Dr. No's death, that hope is destroyed. Sonia tries to encourage him, but Minho tells her he cannot live as a fake human among real people. He walks away, leaving everything behind. Sonia continues her detective work alone. The scene shifts to 1 year later. Sonia receives an invitation to a Halloween party. She decides to go, believing she might see Minho again. As she suspected, she finds him there, sitting in the middle of the party in a white suit. They approach each other, and before long they discover that a murder has occurred at the party. Together, they must solve the case. In that moment, Sonia and Minho reunite once again.